How do you support yourself?
I get disability
Disability for what?
for bipolar disorder.
Okay. When you drug tested today, what are the results going to be? And you're going to get drug tested today.
It's going to be marijuana and alcohol.
So marijuana, alcohol, potentially cocaine.
Yeah, because it was around the house.
No. Why is cocaine around your house?
Like we were moving. Like it's not my. Okay, sorry, it's not my.
No. Why is cocaine around your house?
I just thought that people said that it comes out of people's pores, and if you touch something, then you get it too. That's what I heard on.
So have you been touching people? Court is going to sentence you to.
This defendant displayed an incredible level of entitlement as she stood in front of Judge Boyd and confidently told a story that simply didn't line up with the facts. From the moment the hearing begins, something seems off about her demeanor. She appears unsteady, possibly under the influence, and yet she carries herself as though none of the situation is her responsibility. The case itself centers around a charge involving cocaine, but instead of addressing that directly, she acts as if she has never even heard of the drug before. It's a bold strategy, but not the kind that tends to work inside a courtroom. Judges aren't persuaded by confidence alone. They rely on evidence and consistency, and in this moment, her explanation raises far more questions than answers. The attitude on display suggests she believes everyone else in the courtroom will simply accept her version of events. Let me know what you think about Judge Boyd's approach here. Let's dive in and watch what happens.
Ferreira,
Yes.
we can't do crop tops in court, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So next time when you appear in court before another judge, if you do, hopefully that won't be the case, unless you're coming to ask for early termination, make sure your top is longer, okay?
Okay.
Are you Miss Ferreira?
Yes.
Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 2 years in the state jail facility, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Any objections to the court changing that?
No, Judge.
There's a $500 fine and the state recommends community supervision. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes.
Yes, Judge.
Defense?
Yes, Judge.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 2 years. There be a TAP evaluation, 80 hours of community service restitution, and the DOEP course. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes.
Then to the offenses charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
State, any evidence?
Contained in Exhibit 1 and attachments, Your Honor.
No objection.
All right, after reviewing state's exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Judge.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Judge, my client really wants to get this behind her, and she hopes that the court follows the agreement we have with the state.
All right. Do you have any children?
Yes.
What are their ages?
I have 4 children. 3 of them don't live at home, but one's 12. He's turning 13 and 26.
All right, and who does 12-year-old live with?
With me and my husband.
Since when?
His birth.
All right, so what are you doing with cocaine on you?
I have no memory how any of that transpired. I hadn't been in any kind of trouble. I went to go meet up with a friend, and I had one drink. I remember having 2 or 3 sips out of it, and I don't remember anything else. And I woke up and I came back, and I was in jail. So I have no idea.
All right, so have you ever used cocaine before?
When I was 20 or 19, something like this, one time.
All right,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. So here's the thing. You're going to be drug tested today.
Okay.
And what are the results going to be? And here's the thing. Just be honest with me. I'm inclined to grant your application. I'm trying to figure out what services you need so you won't end up doing 2 years at the state jail facility, potentially.
Mhm.
So when you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be? And you're going to get drug tested today.
It's going to be marijuana and alcohol. And I don't think it's a coke, but I used.
So marijuana, alcohol, potentially cocaine.
Yeah, because it was around the house. And that's why my husband, we're moving. So we're moving to get away from the people that have the stuff.
No. Why is cocaine around your house?
like a severe moving. Like it's not my, okay, I'm sorry, it's not my
No. Why is cocaine around your house?
apartment.
Judge, I think she was saying she's moving and the people that she lives with have the cocaine. That's why they're moving.
So, but why would she be positive for cocaine unless she's on the manufacturing line, potentially? I don't understand why she would test positive for cocaine.
I just thought that people said that it comes out of people's pores, and if you touch something, then you get it too. That's what I heard on.
So have you been touching people?
Just like we live in the same place. I was just thinking it may,
Are you trying to say that you might have a contact? high
yeah,
or
something could have been around it. That's all.
All right, so it is 10:16 a.m.
Mhm.
Why would you be positive for alcohol? It's morning time.
So I drank yesterday.
All right. And then the marijuana? Why would you be positive for marijuana?
Because I was in your system for like 3 weeks, right? 3 months or something. I don't
So you have a 12-year-old and you're using marijuana. You're around people who have alcohol, who have cocaine just laying around an apartment. I don't understand why you have a 12-year-old living in that situation.
That's why we're moving. I mean, like I'm disabled. I want to get a disability check. So like, and then he got a better job. So now we are able to get our own place away from all this other stuff, so that we don't have to deal with it anymore.
Okay. At the end of the day, honestly, and I will tell you, your attorney has done child protective services cases. I don't understand why child protective services is not involved in your life when you're at Circle K and the officer is called out because they say you're causing a disturbance at Circle K and you had a previous criminal trespass there. And that officer tells you, you know what? Let me know where you need a ride. I'll give you a ride to that location so there won't be any problems. And you said, nope, I'm not taking a ride with you. And so he's getting ready to leave and you go right back to Circle K causing issues. And this is not the first time you had a criminal trespass with the Circle K.
Actually, it is, but I know.
No, it's not. According to the report.
At this point, the situation becomes difficult to watch. The defendant is over 40 years old, yet the allegations describe behavior that seems incredibly irresponsible, causing disturbances at convenience store and allegedly doing so while unable to stay sober. That kind of conduct isn't just reckless, it creates real risk for everyone involved. What makes the situation even more troubling is the fact that a 12-year-old child is reportedly caught in the middle of it all, forced to live with the consequences of these choices every single day. Children often end up carrying burdens they never asked for, and situations like this can have lasting effects on them socially and emotionally. Meanwhile, the defendant attempted to convince the court that the cocaine involved in the case somehow appeared around her without her knowledge, even suggesting that it could have entered her system through contact with the environment. The explanation quickly draws skepticism. Basic understanding of how substances are absorbed in the body makes that claim extremely unlikely, and in a courtroom setting, such statements can seriously damage a defendant's credibility. Judges hear many explanations and defenses, but credibility is everything. Once a judge begins to doubt the reliability of a person's statements, it becomes increasingly difficult for that individual to regain trust. In this moment, Judge Boyd's expression suggests a growing skepticism toward the story being presented. Rather than strengthening her position, the defendant appears to be weakening it with each additional claim. Watching the exchange unfold almost feels like observing someone undermine their own case in real time. Instead of acknowledging the seriousness of the situation, she continues to argue points that seem disconnected from the evidence being discussed. In court, that approach rarely works in the defendant's favor. The more someone insists on explanations that don't align with the facts, the more their credibility erodes. And once that credibility is lost, every statement that follows carries far less weight.
All right. I don't know why Child Protective Services is not involved in her life. Child Protective Services should be involved in her life because marijuana, alcohol, cocaine, 12-year-old around marijuana, alcohol, cocaine does not mix. So I'm going to do what I can do to protect the child and hopefully set conditions for her where she will be successful. And I'm going to give you these conditions. And if you miss any of these appointments, a warrant is going to be issued for your arrest. Do you understand? Are you employed?
No.
How do you support yourself?
I get disability
Disability for what?
for bipolar disorder.
All right. Okay. It's ADHD and bipolar. That's what people always get disability for. So, how long have you been diagnosed with bipolar?
Since I was 25.
Okay. And has your 12-year-old been diagnosed with anything?
I mean, he's got ADHD, but we don't, they say.
And is she getting SSI for her ADHD?
No.
Court is going to sentence you to 2 years in the state jail facility, suspended and probated for 4 years. There's a $500 fine that will be probated. 100 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order parenting classes. Once she completes parenting classes, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. We can do a TAP evaluation out of custody. Follow all recommendations. If they recommend inpatient treatment, she'll go into inpatient treatment. There's going to be 180 sober meetings in 180 days. Probation, sorry, I'm going to need you to do Child Protective Services job or help them with their job. I'm going to ask for field visits 1 time per month until further notice. And probation is you can let them know. She says there's a 12-year-old at the home, and to make sure they check on the 12-year-old. All right, thank you. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person and the UA hotline until further notice. And there's to be no contact with Circle K. Let's see where this is located. At 5494 Babcock Road, 78240. Probation, is there anything else? Okay. Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, ma'am.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney?
Yes.
Did you understand it?
Oh, see this.
Did you sign it?
Yes.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, we can go off the record. Probation, if you can make sure that she gets a UA no later than tomorrow. Yes, sir. In this court, to be successful on probation, communication is key. If you have an issue, you need to let probation know. Do not come at them with this I don't remember thing. If you're going to use, pick up the phone, call probation. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you feel as though they're not addressing the issue, you can always come back to me. Do you understand?
Yes.
And I think you should know that a 12-year-old should not be living in the situation that you have that 12-year-old living in. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you, Judge.
In the end, the court handed down a sentence of 2 years in jail with 4 years probated. What that essentially means is that the jail time is suspended for now, but it can be enforced if she violates the terms of her probation. In other words, the court has given her an opportunity to remain free, but that opportunity comes with strict conditions. Probation isn't a free pass. It's a test of whether someone can follow the rules moving forward. For someone struggling with substance issues, that can be especially challenging. Missing required meetings, failing a drug test, or committing new offenses can quickly trigger the original sentence and potentially even additional penalties. The responsibility now falls entirely on the defendant to prove she can comply with those conditions. From the perspective of the court system, probation is often used as a chance for people to change direction without immediately sending them to jail. However, it requires genuine effort and accountability. Without those, the chances of successfully completing probation become very slim. One of the most striking parts of this hearing was how noticeable her behavior seemed during the proceedings. Despite appearing possibly impaired, she still seemed convinced that no one in the courtroom would pick up on it. But judges and court staff have seen countless cases, and they tend to recognize when something isn't right. Judge Boyd, in particular, has presided over many unusual courtroom moments, and this case appears to be another example of that. Now I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Do you think the court made the right call by giving her probation, or should the sentence have been enforced immediately? Share your opinion in the comments below, and thanks for watching.